Christian Prudhomme, an emotional day. Mark Cavendish crashes out of very probably his last Tour de France.
It is an emotional day, and he was so sad just after the fall. He's the best sprinter in the history of the Tour de France. He wanted to try to win the 35th stage, and he was second yesterday. During 2 or 3 seconds yesterday, we thought he would succeed in doing his goal. And today, it's over. So he is sad. We are sad. The Tour de France is sad. He's so important for the Tour. I remember a few years ago when we were in the Alps and he was alone, far, far behind the pack. And he wanted to end the stage. And we had to ask the police not to close the road because Mark Cavendish was on his bike and he was so respectful for the Tour. Mark deserves the respect of the Tour. He always will be welcome with or without his bike.
And you stay out of danger. This, of course, has been a stage in which there have been several bad crashes. One of them, Mark Cavendish, looks like the end of his Tour de France career. I guess you were a kid when he started winning Tour de France stages. Was he a rider you followed and who's inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very sad to hear about Mark. I spoke with him a few times in the last, my first Tour de France and also this year, and he's a super nice guy, and I would have loved to see him take the 35th stage win. And I still remember when I was a kid, when I was watching him, and with all his celebrations, with the Oakley glasses, with the telephone, it was how do you say it? And that's he was my big idol, so I think it's really a shame for him, and I hope he's okay.
Tadej, I don't want to ask you about today's stage, about your ride. I want to ask you about Mark Cavendish, who has crashed out of the race. 2 days ago, you were very funny and you said, I'm a tacker, I'm going for his record. And now he's crashed out of the race. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I feel, when I heard in the race that he crashed and even broke his collarbone. Yeah, that was a bit sad moment because he was in good shape now. And I think everybody here wanted him to win one stage, and yesterday he was super close, and it's a bad moment.
I guess he was already winning stages at the Tour when you were just starting to be a cyclist. Was he a rider whose career you followed when you were a child?
Yeah, he was. For sure, he was one of my favorites. When we were kids, when we were watching HTC High Road and him sprinting on Champs-Élysées and stuff like that, we just want to have his style, his legs, and it was good moments.
Not very beautiful, however, is the fact that Mark Cavendish, you maybe are not aware of this, had to abandon the race. He had to crash out. It's a sad way of saying goodbye to the Tour de France. Do you have maybe a word for Mark?
For me, it was a pleasure to be able to race with Mark. I always had a good relationship with him in the peloton, and it's so sad that such a legend have to finish the Tour like this. He still owns me a jersey. We need a jersey swap, but I wish all the best for Mark, and hopefully I can do the last race he's going to do as well, to honor a legend who stops in cycling.
I mean, the loss of Cavendish is something that it's just super sad for us because he was the leader of the team and we have a lot of expectations to get a victory with him. Yesterday he was super close, so really we believe it was possible to get a victory with him, and just lost him like we lost him just on a stupid crash. It's really pity.
What was going on in the peloton when that crash happened? He seemed to be in the middle of the road. There was nothing dangerous about the road at that point.
No, I mean, was that crash was we were going uphill, just a normal tempo, but a few riders just touch each other, and then on the back you just brake, and then someone just crashed, and then if you are not on that moment super focused or super ready to break, you can fall over really easy because it's right so close between each other that those things happen many times. Yeah, it's super sad that happens to Mark because normally you had those crashes and nothing happens, but that was a really bad night. Now we have to follow this and refocus again in our goals in the tour, but honestly it's just a terrible loss.
David, just talk about the influence that he's had on the team and the sort of new identity he's given the team over the last 2 weeks.
Yes, of course. I mean, Mark is one of the most charismatic riders I've ever met, and I met many good riders. And yes, he was giving like a lot of good energy, to the team. He always gives us. He brings into the team a good mood always, and you can see that every day was a lot of expectation about Team Astana. So he was the most important part of the most key rider of this team so far in the Tour de France. And yes, it's just terrible to be lost.
Well, how special have these last How special have these last 8 days, 9 days been?
Yeah, it doesn't get any better. I've had the chance to really come in here and integrate with the team and try to share my thoughts. And I know all the guys there, they still have a job to do, and we stay super focused. And we'll try to, honour Cav with a victory, but it's a big hit and it's really hard. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Thank you.